The more your buying patterns are located within consumption spending, and the more predictable you are, you get locked into that process over your entire working life. Now, this allows the profit makers to continually extract huge profits at your expense. But see, the cost to you, the expense to you, is your freedom. The expense to you is your potentiality. The expense to you is another decade of doing the same things over and over again. The expense to you is this commuter world of getting up and having this routine for the day. You know, brush your hair, do your teeth, get ready, commute to work. You know, commuting time is getting longer and longer and longer, especially if you've got to commute on the freeways or public transport somewhere. It's getting increasingly crowded. More of your time is consumed just in commuting. Then you do this activity for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. You commute back, go to sleep, and do the same thing over and again. It's very predictable. So the expense to you is literally your freedom. So the rapid expansion of mass media throughout the last century also gave the ability to be persuaded and manipulated on a mass scale. The captains of industry engaged Bernays to develop a new type of customer, a customer who bought on want and not just on need. So Bernays, he set out about using the mass media to start to imprint, and it happens from the day dot. As soon as you're born, the imprinting actually starts, because all you're ever doing is observing the behaviours of those around you. So it actually starts at the day dot. He wanted to imprint a connection, and a very, very strong, deep emotional connection between products and services into the mind. He wanted to imprint, he wanted to impregnate, he wanted to social engineer this into the minds of consumers. So through the use of mass media, he realised that the capacity existed to start rocketing the consumption code into the minds and the hearts of the mass populace. He understood that the way people were conditioned to see themselves could actually be manipulated. So, in other words, the self-image of people could be totally manipulated by mass media and the social engineers of the day. He also understood that he could deliberately create vulnerability. In other words, he could deliberately create people's sense of insecurity by getting them to compare themselves with somebody else, by getting them to compare themselves with an external source. So if you compare yourself to somebody else and they've got a better this, then you somehow feel insecure. So now you've got to work harder or do whatever you need to do to at least get to that state. So deliberately created vulnerability. That means that they could now increase social insecurity. His ultimate aim was to condition people to enhance and show off their personalities. And so that's what we do. We do it by the clothes we wear, we do it by the type of hairstyle, we do it by what we will put onto our bodies, what we adorn our bodies with, what we drive, where we live, how we speak, where we eat, what we drink, all of those sorts of things. And it's right down to the nth, you know, if you have that beer instead of that beer, or that wine instead of that wine, or that flavour instead of that flavour. It's absolutely right down to the nth degree. It's actually designed. But most people are not aware of it. He convinced people to feel good about displaying and owning. Remember what he's trying to do? He's trying to highlight your insecurities. If you feel good about what you display and what you own, and somebody else comes along with something a little bit better than that, do you now feel insecure? Because you're matching and comparing against an external reference process. So people feel good about displaying and owning consumer items, not just because you actually needed them, but just because you actually felt better for their ownership. Now, once you get locked into that process, you are gone. It's bingo, okay? Until you decide to change it. It's just bingo. Now, can you change it? Of course you can.